Today, we're going to dive into the story of the atomic bomb. And it really is an incredible story, one filled with scientific genius, a whole lot of fear, and a power that, well, it would change the world forever.
But you know what? We're not going to start at the beginning. We're going to jump right to the climax. A lonely, desolate desert in New Mexico on July 16th, 1945.
So this was it, the Trinity test, the first time a nuclear weapon had ever been detonated. And this blast was so incredibly powerful that its shockwaves were felt 100 miles away.
And watching this terrifying new dawn, the bomb's lead scientist, J. Robert Oppenheimer, knew exactly what he had just unleashed on the world. He was absolutely haunted by it.
But here is the truly terrifying part. As powerful as they thought it would be, they were way, way off. The actual explosion was just orders of magnitude stronger than what Oppenheimer and his team had even predicted. The power they just unlocked was far greater than even they understood. So how did we even get here? Why on earth would anyone build a weapon capable of destroying entire worlds? Well, the answer, really, it all began with the fear of one man, Adolf Hitler. And you can just see how quickly everything escalated, right? What started out as this scientific concern among brilliant physicists who had to flee Europe, well, it became an absolutely urgent military mission the second the U.S. entered the war.
Okay, so the US was now facing this immense scientific challenge. How do you actually turn an element into a weapon of unimaginable power?
So here's the scientific puzzle they had to crack. It all came down to uranium, but not just any uranium. They had to separate these two types, these two isotopes, U-238 and U-235. And the problem was, they're almost chemically identical, which makes them incredibly, incredibly hard to tell apart. The scale of this challenge was just immense. To get the stuff they really needed, the crucial, unstable U-235, they had to process unbelievable amounts of raw ore. For every 100 kilograms of ore they processed, you know how much they got? Just 700 grams. That's it. So, why go to all this trouble? Well, because the energy payoff was absolutely astronomical. A single kilogram of U-235 could release the same amount of energy as literally millions of tons of coal. We're talking about a completely new scale of power here. And the real secret to unlocking all this power wasn't just about splitting one atom. Nope, it was about creating a chain reaction. A self-sustaining explosive domino effect where each atom that splits triggers more and more, releasing all of that energy almost instantly. It all starts with a single tiny neutron hitting a U-235 atom. That atom splits, and it releases energy, and this is the important part, more neutrons. Those new neutrons fly out and hit other atoms, which also split, and the process just repeats and accelerates exponentially into this massive, massive explosion. So this theoretical science very quickly became the focus of a top-secret, full-blown military operation, the Manhattan Project. And they were serious. The project cost $2.2 billion back in the 1940s. To put that in perspective, that's about $24 billion today. That tells you just how committed the nation was to winning this race. But then, while trying to perfect the uranium method, scientists kind of stumbled upon something completely new: plutonium. It was actually a byproduct of their reactors, and it turned out to be even more powerful than uranium. But it was also super unstable, which created a whole new set of engineering nightmares for them. So now, with two potential nuclear fuels on their hands, the project basically split its efforts. This led to two totally different bomb designs. You had Little Boy, which used a proven, more straightforward gun-type method with uranium, and then you had Fat Man, which was this really experimental and much more complex implosion design they needed to make the unstable plutonium work. And with the Trinity test being a success, these weapons were no longer just theory. They were a reality, and their targets were the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This number, it's just staggering. Over 350,000 people, that's the estimated number of people killed either in the initial blasts or in the immediate aftermath of the two bombings. The horror of these bombs really unfolded in three distinct stages. First, there was the blast itself. Then came this searing heat wave. And finally, the most insidious, long-lasting killer of all, the invisible radiation. And
this is maybe the most terrifying legacy. The effects of that radiation would linger on the land for 300 years. An invisible poison, just there. Now, initially, Oppenheimer was actually relieved the bomb was used against Japan and not Germany. But the sheer scale of the destruction in Nagasaki, that second bomb, it just deeply, deeply disturbed him.
So the very man who built the weapon, the father of the atomic bomb, ended up dedicating the rest of his life to trying to put the genie back in the bottle. But of course, it was far too late.
You know, Einstein, whose famous letter really helped kick this whole project off, he later looked back on it with this really poignant thought on human nature.
The story of the atomic bomb isn't just history, right? It's this permanent reminder of the incredibly heavy responsibility that comes with discovery. And it leaves us with a question that honestly we are still grappling with today. What is the true cost of absolute power?